woman, you know that it's fun with an element of seriousness. So so my dad brought all the fun, and then my mom calmed it down a little bit on the other side so that we could actually have a really good structure in our family. So I was raised in a very, very positive household. It was fun. It was great. And that was an absolute gift to me, an absolute gift. And I can't thank them enough to, I don't know, I can't thank them enough to have given me that strength to realize that life is a long time. You can achieve anything you put your mind to. And they've helped me, I guess from that age, helped me visualize how life could look ahead of me. My dad emigrated from Jamaica to England in 1965, and he met my mum within 3 weeks of moving to England. And they were together. They both passed away in 2010, and they were together in the end for 47 years. So they had a really, really long-term plan. And my dad had just arrived and they already had a plan. So I have been around that environment. I was around a couple that would, live their life together, stayed their life together. And it helped me visualize what I wanted to do in my life. And in the year 2000, it actually helped me with my move to Canada. I moved to Canada when I was 26 years old. And I am still here 18 years later. I mean, a lot of the time, people said, why have you moved to Canada? It's so far from England. But I did, because I had a goal in mind. So think about that. What are you trying to do in the long term? Did I know when I was 12 years old that I was going to live in Canada? I didn't know that, but I knew that I was going to do some big things somewhere, and that I was going to do something a bit more than maybe, that was in my local area. I knew that I wanted to travel. I wanted to get out there. I knew the world was a big place. And because I was brought up in a family that, we didn't have any money, we had a good time. But we didn't have anything. My mum was a wonderful cook, so we always had great meals. My dad was a hard worker, so we always had enough to pay the bills. But, I wanted to dream bigger and think bigger. And part of that was for me to move country. And I'd been here to Canada 8 times on holiday before moving. So, I believe within my own life, I've been able to create a life that I love. And that's what I really, really encourage people to do. Look outside of the box. So when I go back to my hometown, I seriously fit in like I haven't even left. I walk around, I see people that I know, I go to familiar places, I go visit my old houses. I do everything to make myself feel at home. But, I made the choice to move somewhere else and create a life somewhere else. And I have to say, it's turned out wonderfully well, more than I could ever imagine. And I think it's because of the positive mindset that I've been set with from a very young age. So I want you to think about that today. What situations are you going into and you're like, no, I can't do that. That's not figuring out for me. Well, it really could figure out for you. It really could. And you don't have to think, well, what if it doesn't? Well, if you don't try, how do you know it's not going to work out for you? So when I first moved to Canada, I lived in Alberta first, and after 9 years, I moved to BC. And I have to say that BC is my dream destination. So each day I'm lucky enough to live in my dream destination. I do travel a lot, but at the same time, I want to say I love where I live. So although I love the opportunity of traveling, and I've been so lucky to go to some amazing places, when I come back here, I absolutely love where I live. So think about that. Are you loving where you live? It doesn't mean that you need a ton of money to live somewhere else or do something. Maybe you can create something else right in your backyard. Okay, but think about that. How do you feel about your living environment? Think about what you can do to change that, the place that you live, where you're at. Think about how you can do that. So that's, something that I wanted to share with you about how my big move to another country really, really helped me focus forward, helped create a life that I love. And I now want to talk to you about short and long-term goals. When you set goals, we talked earlier about efficient goals, effective goals. We didn't talk about short and long-term goals. We just talked about finding things that suited you. So think about goals. Goals should be set regularly and evaluated throughout the year to keep you motivated and on the right track. What would keep you on the right track? Think that you have to set something that's short-term, the little thing that you can get to in the next few weeks, and then the big thing. It's a step process. So think about going through those steps. Goal setting is a very effective strategy in fulfilling your life-related expectations. We all have different expectations of where we want to be in life. Think about that. A goal can be from anything from running a 10-kilometer race to building a new house in 5 years' time. So which one do you want to do? Do you want to say, okay, I'm going to run 10K, and then we talk to you and we say, wait a minute, you haven't even run 5K. Okay, you've got to run 5K before you do a 10K race. I'm going to actually talk about marathon training later and some competition training. So that's actually quite relevant that we talk about 10K races there. The first and most difficult step in goal setting is finding a goal that's right for you in your situation. To be successful in reaching a goal, you must be able to state what is wanted and where you are in relation to the final outcome. So where are you today and where are you in the final outcome? Think about that. How far away are you? There are two types of goals. Think about this as well. Proximal goals and distal goals. So the ones that are closer to present are proximal goals. I'm getting my words mixed up there. Proximal goals. They're close, and they're so close that you can achieve them any time. Now, distal goals are a little bit harder to get to. So don't set yourself up for failure straight away by setting a goal that's too big. Do those smaller goals on the way. Distal goals are normally the final outcome. So that's why you have to make sure that you've got the combination of the two types of goals. Think about that. You need the small ones, the bigger ones, and then you're going to get there. That's what I really want people to do. I really want people to succeed in life. You know, we talked earlier about whether or not you want to have public goals or confidential goals. It's up to you. But as long as they're set in place and you know that there is step-by-step commitment from you to get there. If you do need accountability, then tell somebody. Tell somebody that you can trust. Really tell someone you can trust. And, you know, if it turns out that they tell the village about your goal, well, maybe that makes you a little bit more accountable. Maybe now that the whole village know, maybe you're going to maybe try and work a bit harder to get towards that. You never know. I want to talk to you now about gratitude. Earlier on, I talked about how gratitude was so big. And I don't think we realise how lucky we are in different places in the world. Now, I am very, very lucky to live in Canada, where it's safe, it's great, it's absolutely beautiful. And so I want you to find, wherever you're living at right now, instead of thinking, well, I don't really like it here, I haven't got a chance to leave here, I don't know what to do. I know there are some amazing things about the place that you live in. I want you to look closely at that. Look closely at what your place has to offer. Think about the gratitude and the location and the great things that you can find there. I want you to think about writing 5 things that you're extremely grateful for in your life. Now, when times are tough and you go, no, there's nothing that I'm grateful for, please sit down, get your pen and paper out, or whether or not you do it on your iPad or your laptop, and write a list of 5 things that you're absolutely grateful for. Then when you read those things back, you go, wow, I didn't realise that. That's good. Yeah, okay, I'm glad I've got that. I'm glad I've got this. So think about your gratitude list and how that is for you. And you might want to look at that on a daily basis, a weekly basis, but don't forget about those things that you've got. Be really, really thankful for that. Now, law of attraction. A lot of people don't believe in the law of attraction and how you can manifest things and how things that you think about happen for you. Now, I have a really, really interesting story about the law of attraction, and it goes back probably now around 10 years ago. Now, remember, I've lived my life with a positive mindset, and I've put things out there, and I've run after goals that I've set for myself. And I didn't realise there was something called the law of attraction. So about 10 or 11 years ago, I was on a trip, a girls' trip. And when I was travelling back, one of the ladies that I travelled with, we were travelling together. We'd got to know each other on this girls' trip away. And we were in the airport together. And we happened to come across a big delay in the flight. And everybody in the airport was complaining about it, except me. I was thinking, oh, good, a little bit more longer on my holiday. This is great. Sitting in the airport waiting. So I managed to get to know this new friend a bit longer because we're now going to be on a big delay in the airport. And she said to me when we were talking for the afternoon, you know, Sarah, have you read The Secret? And I said, oh, what's The Secret? Never heard of it. She said, well, it's about the law of attraction and it's about all these different things. And she said, sitting here talking to you for the afternoon is like reading The Secret. So I said, well, why? And she went over the reasons why. So I didn't realise that personally I'd been living that way and thinking that way my whole life, not realising that it was a way to live. So the law of attraction only works for you if you believe it. If you think, no, that's not going to work for that, that's not going to, you have to think about manifestation. So what do you do when you manifest things? Well, you think about how that's going to work for you. What does your end result look like? Think about the exact details and treat your mind like a vision board. When you do that, you're manifesting things. So when you treat your mind like a vision board, you can't just have the pictures there and say, okay, you need to be able to put your plan into action. So when you manifest, you put things together and you think hard. Another thing when you think about law of attraction, act as if it's already happening. So write down your visualization and fill yourself with gratitude as if it's already happening. Now, I used to do this years ago. Until this friend brought this to my attention, I would say, well, I don't know. Doesn't this happen to everybody? Isn't this happening everywhere? But it wasn't. It really wasn't. And again, it comes down to your positive mindset. Another thing you have to think about when you're thinking about the law of attraction, opportunities and inspirations. When opportunities come to you, they're everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere. And instead of looking at things with a negative mindset and saying, well, nothing ever happens for me. Nothing ever goes well for me. Well, it's because you're putting it out there to say that nothing's going well for you. And guess what? It doesn't. So look at the opportunities. There's opportunities everywhere. And you don't realize that they could have the most amazing outcomes. So think about that. Think about your opportunities. It might be the smallest thing. And I'm a big believer in when something doesn't go right for you and you think, well, that opportunity didn't go very well, it's because it's leading you to something else. And at first, when people used to say that to me, I'm like, well, what's it leading me to? You're never going to know what it's leading to you to until you're there and you go, okay, this is the bigger and better thing that it's coming to. This is what I was waiting for. This is even better than the thing that I've missed. So for me, when I've been in different situations personally in my life and it's not maybe quite gone my way, I never say, I can't believe that didn't happen. I think, okay, what's coming? So I'm really glad that when I found out about the law of attraction, I remember thinking, okay, so it's not me. I'm not mad. I'm not crazy. I do think these things and it's actually something real. So do think about that. Unless you actually put yourself out there to believe that these great things can happen for you, then I honestly don't think they're going to. Inspiration. We need to be around inspirational things on a constant daily basis. Be around people that inspire you. Read inspirational books. Be around people that have got, wonderful stories to tell. And, why not be an inspiration yourself as well? You've got amazing things to offer as well. Why don't you be out there saying, okay, I need to think about how I can help somebody in that area of my life. How I can help that person who's struggling in the community there. How can I do that? So that's what I want you to definitely think about. Think about how, never mind how people are inspiring you, how are you inspiring other people? So think about celebration. Celebrate everything that you're doing because, we are so lucky to be here. And I want you to know that it's a gift that you woke up this morning. Somebody didn't and, it's life-changing. It's absolutely life-changing. So think, you woke up this morning and reward yourself for that. Do something great. Be happy that you're here. Be happy that you're able to continue on each day. I also want you to think another thing. We're lucky to be here. Let's have compassion for other people. Let's have a think about how things are going for other people on the other side of the fence. And I want you to think about how helpful you can be and how loving you can be and how thoughtful you can be. Though think about compassion. Another thing that is big is comparison. So when I went back to the beginning of the show here, and I talk about this on every show that I do, the reason I pick Create a Life You Love is because I want you to create a life that you love. So when you think about comparing yourself to other people, please don't. Please have your own agenda. Now, one thing that I've used, I use so many different sayings each day on my social media. And one thing I say often is, your competition is right there in front of you in the mirror. So your competition should be you. So please do not compare yourself to other people because you don't need to. You've got this absolute gift of being here. Please know that compare yourself to what you want to aspire to be. That's what you need to do. So when you set your goals, don't look over your shoulder of what other people are doing. Write down your version of what an amazing life looks like. I talked about patience earlier. I know it comes up every single time when I'm talking about things, but be patient. Be patient in this law of attraction that you're trying to put together. Think about patience. Okay, I've got to execute patience. I don't know if I want to. So think about that. Now, one thing that I've done over the years is I have done fitness competitions. And, I just talked a minute ago about a comparison to others. The only time you really need to be compared to others is when you're on a fitness stage and they say quarter turn to the right, quarter turn to the back, quarter turn to the front. Within a